All right, welcome along. My name's Bosh, and I'm going to do a Q&A video first. I'll explain at the end why this video's come on, why it's been so long since I've done my last one. But yeah, this is going to be a Q&A video, and I'm just going to get straight into it. These questions have come from my Dub Reggae tutorial video that I did, again, about 2 years ago, and they're all in the comments. I answered in the comments, and then I just felt like I'd do a video answering them again, but in a bit more detail, and I can show you images, graphics, videos, or whatever at the side of me, either side here as well, just to help. So without further ado, first question is from at Lord Stark 9795, says, "Hey man, really useful tutorial, thanks. When I make a bassline in Operator, I get this horrible click when changing notes where the waveforms have to jump. Any advice on fixing this would be great. I can't find a solution anywhere." So, pretty quick solution first is note length. And all you want to do, I'm going to show a piano roll at the side here with the bass line in. And you're just going to make sure that none of your notes are running parallel, not parallel, but like ending as the next note starts. So just drag the end of your note a little bit just to create a bit of a gap, basically. Now, if you hold Alt while you do this, so Alt and click on the end of the note, it's not snap to grid. So you can be really loose and sort of really finely tune where you want to put the end of the note. But it means it gives time for that note to the end, the next note to start, and it should eliminate that clicking. Now, point 2 for this question is related to that. And you need to check your attack and your release on your bass line, especially if you're using just a sine wave, like as the sub. Check the attack and release, because the attack and release amounts will change how much of a gap you need to have in between the notes, like I talked about in the first point. So what I tend to do is go for a few milliseconds, not much on the attack. So I'd maybe put the attack up to between 3 and 8 milliseconds, something like that. It means it's not an audible change. You can't hear it, but it will get rid of the click. And if you play your bass note while doing this, you'll hear the click slowly start to disappear. Same with your release. What I tend to do with the release is make it as long as possible, which in Ableton, I believe, is about 20 seconds. I could be wrong. And then just slowly drag it back as I'm playing the note until it sounds how I want it to sound. And then hopefully you should hear that click change until the point where it goes away completely. Point 3 would be to make sure that Operator's running in monophonic mode. And that basically means that you can only play one note at a time. If you play 2 notes, one will get cancelled out. So if you play a note and then you start playing another note, it'll stop the first note playing, basically. And you can't play chords. Polyphonic is where you can play multiple notes and you can play chords. So what you want to do, again, I'll show this up here. In Operator, you want to click on the bottom right hand section. That's your master section where the main volume is. And then in the middle black square, in the bottom left, there should be a box called Voices, or a control that says Voices, and it'll, by default, I think it's set to 6. Open that box. It's a drop up box, not a drop down box. And to change that to 1. And that basically means that's how many notes can be played at the same time. So if you want to be playing really big chords, you need that set to 6, 7, 8 notes. If you're playing single notes, you want it set to 1. So a quick rundown of question 1 about getting rid of the click. Check your note lengths. Make sure the notes aren't touching. Check your attack and release. Make sure they're long enough to meet the requirements of the gap that you've created in the note. And then check the polyphony setting, the voice setting, whether it's set to mono or poly, whether it's multiple voices or just one. They're the 3 key points for getting rid of that click in your bass sound. I hope that helps. Question 2 is from at Rako6un. "Hello there, very nice tutorial, Bosh. I have a question. Is there any particular setting for the channel routines, or you simply created the starting tracks, e.g. kick, snare, hi-hats, melody? I'm asking because you had the I/O section toggled off. Example, for the melody channel, is that going through to the master, or you created a melody bus that takes the signal from sends and then goes to the master?" So this one, my way of working, I don't use bus channels, which as a concept I believe is opening a separate track and then routing things to that track. I don't really see the point of that if you've got the option to use sends and returns, and if you can group tracks. Because a group, if you ask me, is the same as sending it to a bus. Unless you're hearing the product of the bus and the original product separately, then that's only a send and return thing. But I use groups and I use send and returns basically. So no, I'll show you again up here my I/O settings, but everything as standard tends to go straight to the master. If that's wrong, so then by all means I'll admit I'm wrong. I'm no expert, I'm just a hobby producer. That's just how I do things. All right, question 3. This one's from Clayton von Kluger 4905, and it says, "Say DJ Bosh, I've been working on reggae tracks. I've absolutely loved this music since I was in my teens. I'm over 50 now, big up. And as a relatively new to recording, I've got a couple of questions maybe you could answer. I'm not a newbie to playing, just recording, which is always a good start. If you can play, the recording bit's not too hard until you start getting a bit technical with it. So you've written, I only recently discovered this dub style recording and I proper adore this. I'd like to try it out. I have a Yamaha mixer from my band days, playing out live, and I have a Zoom G3NX or Gen X. Zoom, tell me how that's pronounced. Foot pedal. I wonder if this would get me any usefulness. Absolutely. My belief about dub reggae, dub in general, is that it's a genre that is meant for experimentation. It lends itself so brilliantly to experimentation. And that's kind of the spirit of the music itself. It's all about trying different effects, making crazy sounds, making things sound really spaced out, and just, I don't know, there's very little in the way of rules when it comes to making dub. So I would say absolutely you can use your Yamaha mixer and your Zoom pedal. With the Zoom pedal, run stuff through it. Even if it's from your computer, out of the computer and back into the sound card or something like that. Run bass lines, synths, effects, whatever. I mean, I don't know what effects that particular pedal has, but I used to have a Zoom pedal and it had some really crazy stuff on there. So absolutely, use the pedal. In regards to the Yamaha mixer, I don't know what model it is, so I couldn't tell you how easily you'd be able to connect it to a computer, but I would definitely assume that there's a way to do that. I'm guessing you just need a sound card to then plug everything into the sound card. I'm no expert. I don't know. Maybe someone can answer that one in the comments. And then finally, the question from @Carter_Reeves, and he's just asked about the Dub Producers group. Basically, he was asking, I mentioned in the video that there was a Facebook group called Dub Producers. There are 2 groups, I believe. One's UK based and one's international. Just type in Dub or Dub Producers on Facebook and you'll find it. And there's some really good tips in there, good videos. I know Dubmaster Khan is very active in at least one of those groups and posts quite a lot. His videos are brilliant. So yeah, go check out one of those Facebook groups and that's where you can find them. Right, Q&A is done. I can get rid of this now. And I just want to explain sort of why I've done this video and what I'm going to try and do with the channel going forward. The last video that I uploaded that did really well was the Dub Reggae tutorial video. Now, firstly, I think it did so well because it was a beginner's aspect, like a beginner's view. And I only, throughout all my videos, I want to only try and use Ableton stock plugins. Because the amount of videos that I see online where you go in and it's like, okay, how to make this sound? And then it says you need some synth or some plugin that you have to buy. Pardon me. The majority of people don't have all the synths and the other majority of people don't have the spare cash to be buying synths. Maybe you're running on cracked software. You shouldn't be, but I get it. I did for years. Any way you can produce music, do whatever. And I just think it's best that I try and keep this channel to Ableton stock stuff. And then I feel like it's going to be accessible by the most amount of people who use Ableton at least. Maybe. The reason I haven't posted anything in so long is because of this laptop. Brilliant laptop, great, runs fast, does all my live dubbing stuff really well, no crashing, no glitches, anything like that. It's brilliant. But I'm having some real problems routing the audio from Ableton and my microphone into the recording software, like my screen recording software. I can't get it to do it without it glitching. So whether it means I have to take the longer approach and maybe narrate the videos that I make, so like I'll be making the tune, maybe I'll record some talking while I do it and then separately upload that, or talk over the video and actually narrate the video as it's going on. Who knows? But I want to get this channel going again because I had quite a lot of views on that last video and I feel like I might have something to offer. So please keep an eye on this channel, click that subscribe button, give it a like and all that business, hit comment. By all means, I will always get back in touch with everyone. At the moment, it's a small enough channel that I can say I will get back in touch with everyone 100%. So yeah, that's it for this week, or for this video at least. I'll see you next time.